It was a huge week for the Supreme Court and the gays, as we call them now. DOMA was struck down. Prop 8 is going back to the states. So a lot of good stuff happened for marriage equality. And it got me thinking about how television and media influences our ability to change and how it affects society. And then it had me thinking particularly about one clip from my favorite all-time show, The Golden Girls, about marriage equality. This is a Golden Girls clip. I believe this is season 7, 1992. Take a look.
Blanche, I've been thinking about Clayton and Doug, and I have a question.
What?
Why do men have nipples?
I have no idea.
You think it's because God has a sense of humor and isn't as uptight as the rest of us?
It's easier for you to say that, Sophia. It's not your brother who's getting married to a man. Oh, look, I can accept the fact that he's gay, but why does he have to slip a ring on this guy's finger so the whole world will know?
Why did you marry George?
We loved each other. We wanted to make a lifetime commitment, wanted everybody to know.
That's what Doug and Clayton want, too. Everyone wants someone to grow old with, and shouldn't everyone have that chance?
Sophia, I think I see what you're getting at.
I don't think you do. Blanche, will you marry me?
Thank you, Sophia. I need to go talk to them.
Fine, but I'll need an answer. I'm not going to wait for you forever.
All right, I love that clip for so many reasons. First off, funny, and also it was telling truth. And again, this is 20 some odd years ago, and they were telling, and this was in Florida. Gay marriage certainly wasn't legal 22 years ago in Florida. It's not legal now. So I think this brings us to an interesting topic, which is how much does this stuff actually transcend, make its way into reality? Because on one hand, you could look at this and go, well, that's amazing they did that 22 years ago. But it still took 22 years to get this far. So should we be inspired by these things that come out of pop culture and television?
I think so. I think it's an important part of the process. I think when we fall in love with characters and we feel like they're our own family, our own friends, then after that investment, when we see, we're so much more likely to hear what they have to say when it's as funny and wonderful as that.
Yeah.
And I think so much did lead up to it. I think Will and Grace played a big role, in the early 2000s. I think there were a lot of shows. The more it was represented on our television sets, the more I think the country was able to empathize and understand and get on board. And I think it's a kind of a nice thing for, the comedy and the world.
It's good for the comedy.
It's good for the comedy.
I mean, listen, obviously, I think it was fantastic. It talked about a topic that wasn't really talked about on television. This is before Will and Grace, before Modern Family or New Normal or any of these shows were in our living rooms where we were...
New Normal already canceled.
Right, well, but at least there was positive, gay role models on television that people could, really get behind. And I love that the Sophia, who is the oldest, Sicily, picture it, 1910, it's like she's educating the younger generation. If anything, you would think she would be the one that needed to be, educated. So I love that. But yeah, it's like you said, I mean, it's any time that we see other people doing anything, having any opinion, it always has an effect on you because it makes you think, well, what would I do? Or what would I, see? Or what would I think?
Well, I think that, okay, so I'm with you guys 100% so far, and stuff like that has a huge, powerful, impactful, societal commentary. However, is this a bit of a slippery slope? Because like when all these politicians jump on TV and they always say, well, there's too much gun violence in TV and in video games, and that's why people are shooting each other. So does it run both ways, that we get good images that are change us for the good, but bad images that change us for bad? I'm not a personal believer that video games cause violence, because otherwise I'd be an Italian plumber eating mushrooms and jumping on turtles. But you know what I mean? Like, does it go both ways? If the good stuff is good for us, is the bad stuff equally as bad?
I think it's easy to say that. Yeah, absolutely. You got to take, you got to take your sugar with your salt. And if you're going to stand on one side, you kind of got to stand on it, for both sides. But I think part of it, and this is the point that I totally completely was in our space.
I was just killing time.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Is I think in 1992, I think there were still a lot of people who hadn't come out yet, and so I think there was a lot of areas of the world, but certainly even just our nation, where people didn't really know that many gay people. Not that they maybe didn't know that they were gay, or maybe it wasn't accepted. And so showing it on television is like showing them, is like they know somebody. Oh, I know Cam. Even if in their personal life they don't know somebody, who's gay or who's out. And they're like, oh, that's so cool. And that builds, tolerance and all of that. But you're right. I think environment has a little bit to do with why people do things, absolutely. I mean, this guy that went in, like he was the Joker in Batman and shot up do I think that he would have gone that route if he hadn't seen The Dark Knight? I don't know. He probably had a screw loose to begin with.
Right, and might have just done it a different way without a Joker mask or something like that.
But to say that it has no influence, no, I have to say that I really do think it does have an influence. But I think you have to be smart enough to be like, okay, this is a game, this is a movie, this is not real, or whatever it is. And hopefully when it's something positive, like, tolerance, people are like, this is cool.
Yeah. Did you guys have any shows that affected you in any specific way? Anything that maybe empowered you as women or as comic personalities or whatever it might be?
I mean, Punky Brewster, listen, I was mix matching my socks every day because of Punky. No, seriously. Absolutely.
No, the very special episodes of Blossom, and now we're going to address, I don't know if any of them spoke to me personally, but it was, as a kid, you're hearing about all these things that you are maybe sheltered from and don't know about, and therefore are enlightened by that very special episode.
Yeah, I remember a very special episode of Growing Pains when they go to, Kirk Cameron, Mike Seaver goes to a party with Boner. I don't know how they named that kid Boner.
How did they name
that was in a meeting. We're gonna name this guy Boner.
That's the real issue.
But and Boner goes off and does coke with a bunch of other kids, and Mike doesn't. And they made it a very special, and that stuff does stick with you as a kid, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it does.
Absolutely,
It does.
and that's a lot easier way to do it than just like on the news or somebody like pushing it down your throat. It's like they kind of put it in entertainment and make it softer, and especially with Golden Girls. I mean, that was a sitcom. They made it funny. Yeah. They made it lighthearted. Yeah. It wasn't something that was like tragic or hushed or anything like that. So kudos to them, I think.
Yay for the girls.
Yay for the girls.
Yay for the Golden Girls. Thank you for being a friend. I had to say it legally once in this segment.